Every time they file an indictment, we go way up in the polls. We need one more indictment to close out this election. One more indictment, and this election is closed out. Nobody has even a chance.
Very fancy meeting you.
Oh,
here.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, this is not the circumstances in which I expected to be talking to you.
Nor me, Rachel. It's always good to talk to you, but honestly, I didn't think that it would be under these circumstances. Yet another set of indictments.
This is something.
The American media is at it again, telling us that democracy, of course, is at stake if Donald Trump is not stopped. Same thing they told us in 2016 when they said that faithless electors should stop Donald Trump from being elected president. But that was okay. That fake elector scheme was completely fine and not even called a scheme. Instead, it was called people showing their conscience. That was completely fine. And then to go out and say that the election was stolen afterwards for years was completely fine as well. To make up a fake attack on the president, claiming he worked with the Russians, that was fine as well. If you're going to do this, and you're going to applaud this thing out of Fulton County, which is going nowhere, that will blow up, that will be embarrassing once again, and that Donald Trump will win on one more time, at least don't have Hillary Clinton and Rachel Maddow on television discussing it. I mean, if you want to have some credibility here, don't bring these two dopes in. Listen to these hens cackle.
The system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it, then something, it tells you something not just about that person or that moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy in a way that is hard to repair.
Rachel Maddow was one of the frontline election deniers in 2016, 17, 18, and 19. 20. Up until Joe Biden won, she didn't think elections counted in this country. She thought the Russians stole everything. And here she is, saying this with as straight as a face as this person can muster up.
What do you think about how we get better after the wounds that have been inflicted on us through this process?
Well, I think, the truth matters. I think having these cases be brought in such professional manners, we'll see how they unfold. Obviously, the trials, if there are trials, are going to be critically important. But the article you mentioned that I published about the weaponization of loneliness really does, in my view, point to the larger cultural concerns, because the lack of trust, the divisiveness, the undermining of faith in ourselves, in each other, respect for our institutions, the rule of law, all of that has been deliberately inculcated within our body politic.
The rule of law? Hillary Clinton's talking about the rule of law and trusting our institutions to Rachel Maddow? These people are hilarious. Do they not see this? Does nobody in the newsroom say, guys, this is a really bad idea to do this. It makes us look really silly. Let's run Hillary Clinton out there to say insane things about the rule of law, someone who should be in a jail cell.
There were trends before. I mean, we have seen how people have become more isolated, less community-oriented, less civically minded. Then we see how social media and technology has certainly accelerated a lot of those trends. But the deliberate effort to divide Americans.
She's the expert in that. What the hell is she talking about? All of this is a complete joke. Let's look at Hillary Clinton and her stupid friends talking about how elections can't be trusted. How did we get here? Why don't people trust our system? Why don't people trust elections? You started it, dummy.
There was a widespread understanding that this election was not on the level. We still don't know what really happened, Isaac. I mean, there's just a lot that I think will be revealed, history will discover, but you don't win by 3 million votes and have all this other shenanigan stuff going on and not come away with an idea like, whoa, something's not right here.
The outcome of the election was affected by their interference, and now we need to know, to what degree, if any, the Trump campaign was actually in collusion with with Russia.
He knows he's an illegitimate president. So, of course, he's obsessed with me. And
Why? Why don't people trust things? Why don't people trust our system? Oh, because we told you for years that the system was broken until the day Joe Biden got elected. Then the system was fixed.
And I believe that it's a guilty conscience.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
If Al Gore won that election, I think he won it anyway.
Actually, I think I carried Florida.
Bush versus Gore. A court took away a presidency.
If all the votes were counted in Florida, that Al Gore would be president today and George Bush would be back in office.
I come from Florida, where you and others participated in what I call the United States coup d'etat.
It's a coup. It was a coup, guys. It was a coup. Good Lord.
Not in my mind that Al Gore was elected president.
I rise to object to the fraudulent 25 Florida electoral votes.
I must object because of the overwhelming evidence of official misconduct, deliberate fraud, and an attempt to suppress voter turnout.
It is signed by myself on behalf of my diverse constituents and the millions of Americans who have been disenfranchised by Florida's inaccurate vote count. The Supreme Court, not the people of the United States, decided this election.
Speaking to a Democratic group in Chicago Tuesday, he made it clear he thinks Al Gore was the winner.
By the time it was over, our candidate had won the popular vote, and the only way they could win the election was to stop the voting in Florida.
And let's remember, it wasn't just Democrat politicians. The media was in on this too. And Rachel Maddow, who happens to be in this clip from the very beginning, she was leading the charge. How can we go about our lives if people are questioning our democracy and our voting? Oh, I don't know, Rachel. Well, why don't people trust that?
We are still every day dealing with this question of whether or not our president was chosen, not just because of a foreign intelligence operation. We're grappling with this existential question as to whether his campaign was part of that foreign intelligence operation. Russia, Vladimir Putin, Russia hates Russia, Putin, Russia, Moscow, Russian, pro-Russian, the Russians, Russian, Moscow, Russia, Putin, Russian.
Yeah, you get it. So, well, they can try this all they want. Remember, they started this nonsense in 2000. They continued it in 2016. And remember, the only time the elections are not stolen is when Democrats win. Bush in 2000, Bush in 2004. Questions in Ohio, questions in Florida. 2008, Barack Obama. Our system works. Democracy is saved. 2012, Barack Obama. Our system works. Democracy is saved. 2016, Russians. They stole the whole thing. 2020, democracy saved again. Don't believe the crap these people are selling. They don't even believe it.